So today we are celebrating the 10-year anniversary of one of the greatest BMWs of all time. One that became an instant future classic at launch and almost didn't even happen. Yep, we're talking about the BMW 1 Series M Coupé.
BMW 1M Coupé started life in October of 2009. There wasn't a lot of budget set aside for fun what-ifs, just shortly after the Great Recession had hit. So the car was actually a secret project after hours deep inside the M Skunk Works in Munich.
The car was codenamed Pirate, which is this very special flavored rum that the engineers back then really loved. And you can see it's orange, so maybe that's why they chose Valencia orange as one of the signature 1M colors. A lot of development happened behind the scenes and mostly during the weekends, which is when the engineers would have their mind be free wherever they wanted to take them. Back then it wasn't so easy to create an all-new M car. They knew they would never get the financial support nor have the approval to spend so much time on creating an all-new M car. That's why a lot of parts were actually sourced from different models and checked on the 1M chassis to see if it would fit.
After they finally had a product worth showing, they waited for the opportunity to put it all together. When the boss of M went away on a 2-week trip, the engineers started putting everything together. It was like kids doing something while their parents are out, making them proud of what they accomplished upon return. The car was approved by the board since it didn't break the bank in development. It had shown its potential and it had the added benefit they could just squeeze the 1M onto the production line in Leipzig, where all the other 1 Series were produced. In total, they had settled on building 2,700 units of the 1M. However, when shown to the public, opinions were divided at first. According to real M enthusiasts at the time, a proper M car had a naturally aspirated S-Series engine that is developed by the BMW M department itself. So you can start to see why people were doubtful when BMW M launched the car with a BMW developed N54, which was also turbocharged.
However, once people got their hands on the car, things really changed. From then on, it was an instant hit, and priced at 50,000 euros back then, the demand was so high actually that they had to lift the production cap from the original 2,700 that were planned to 6,309 actually. So the 1M, as I said, is a bit of an oddball compared to the other M cars, basically because it's a Partsbin car. For starters, the engine isn't really that special considering the M lineup. It's the standard N54 that was borrowed from the Z435i. However, they did put a custom tune on it. The brakes are sourced from the M3 E92, and so are actually the differential, the rear axle. Even these wheels are shared with the M3 Competition and M3 GTS. Also, as you can see, these wing mirrors also represent the same E92 M3 vibe that was kind of the idea behind the car. So as I've said before, the engine is the N54, which is actually an engine that's used in half of the BMW lineup at the time. 7 Series, 3 Series, 5 Series, basically every car that's available, which makes it 1, a very strong engine, and 2, a very cost-effective engine, which was really needed for this car. Specs, however, is top tier because this N54 produces the 340 horsepower and 450 newton meters of torque. 500 newton meters of torque was available for 10 seconds on the overboost function. The car would sprint from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in just under 5 seconds and would reach 200 in just over 17 seconds. Top speed was a very German limited 250 kilometers an hour, although a few owners have claimed that BMW actually forgot the limiter and they have reached upwards of 270 or 280. Power goes solely through the rear wheels via the 6-speed manual gearbox and the mechanical limited slip differential. Further changes are the reworked fascia with these air curtains, which was a very first for a BMW M car. Also, you have this very prominent arches. I mean, you can't really don't notice them. They are 71 millimeters wider at the front and 44 millimeters wider at the back compared to the standard 135i. And as you can see, it makes the car look very muscular, very pronounced. So when the car launched, there were a few things you could spec out, but not a whole lot of gizmos. first and foremost, these three colors. Sapphire Black, Valencia Orange and Alpine White were the only three colors available. However, there's like four which are individually colored. One is a Monte Carlo Blue, the second one is a Java Green, the third one is a kind of champagne brownish, and the fourth one we actually never really saw. The cost of this individual paint was 25,000 euros, which is like half the value of the car back then. And the reason why it was so damn expensive is because Leipzig, where the 1M was produced, they couldn't offer individual colors. So they had to take the car off the production line, ship it to München, where they could spray individual, spray it there, then return the car back to Leipzig and put it back onto the assembly line. Inside, there were a few options available, most popular being the Harman Kardon option and the iDrive navigation system. Some cars had minimal options, and which were commonly referred to as strippers, which basically means no navigation here, no cup holders, no armrest, like pure driving, no things to distract you from, just drive and have fun, which is basically what this car was all about and was intended to be. However, one thing you couldn't select was the interior trim, which is leather with Alcantara and orange stitching. The reason why the 1M became the car it is today is that it's a return to the original E30 ethos. BMW engineers actually took out an old E30 M3 to compare it to the 1M and to recapture the original spirit and vibe of the E30 M3. And the reaction of the public pretty much spoke for itself. That this is what BMW M is all about and what they should be making. From the aggressive, boxy looks to the communicative short wheelbase to the massive, ridiculous wave of torque. And considering the volume that they made, it's no wonder that they're sought after. It's the modern driver's car, and nothing has ever come even close again to how cool and how nice this car drives. So, to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of the BMW 1M, we've gathered a few owners in honor of this Partsbin special. Of course, in 10 years, some will change owners and will create different and new experiences. For example, Ludo's car here has a very, very cool background in my opinion. The car has done 160,000 kilometers already and has done at least 140 laps on the Nordschleife, which is like amazing just for a car, and it still looks equally good as all the rest, and it still runs as perfect as all the rest as well.
Even after 10 years, time has been kind on the 1M. It's a fabulous looking car and still such a unique and thrilling experience. So with that, we're saying happy birthday to this BMW icon. Here's to the next 10 years.